Hello, everyone. Welcome to Midweek. I have our dear friend here, Stephanie, who's all things children's ministry and families. And so we have some really fun things because you just went on a trip.
Yes.
And you went to Nashville. And you were debuting an album you're going to sing?
Yeah, working on a couple of things. No, we were attending the Child Discipleship Forum, which is put on, it's kind of a branch of Awana's ministry, just kind of another thing that they're doing beyond curriculum and discipling kids on midweek and Sundays.
So Awana is kind of exploding around the world. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And God's doing some really cool things. Yeah. But we have a really cool midweek here that just does such a good job of discipling kids. When you went, you came back, you were pretty charged.
Yeah.
It fueled some Jesus in you.
Yes.
So what were some of the surprises that you're like, wow, wasn't expecting that, but that's a takeaway? Surprises.
Yeah, I think most parents think they have 0 to 18 to kind of raise their kids before they launch. And I have a senior right now, so that's kind of been in my mind that, okay, I've got 1 year left to really make an impact before I don't get to speak into their life in the same way. But the stats that we heard over and over were that worldview in a child is formed by 13 years old. So it kind of just like hacked off 5 years of influence into our kids. Obviously, we still get to influence them beyond 13, but they said it's pretty firmly set by 13, what they're going to believe about the world and the Bible and themselves. And so that was sobering.
That is sobering.
Yeah.
13 is a lot ahead of 18.
Yes.
I do have news for you. When you're writing your will, you still get to influence them because they're quite interested. So 13, that's way lower than I think any of us realized. Mm-hmm. We hear a lot of numbers all the time. One of the numbers I always remember is that at age 12, take 75% of those boys, when they hit 22, they're out of the church. Mm-hmm. That's kind of a standard out there. I've been hearing that for years. Mm-hmm. But you heard some different numbers, but in a back end way, it's pretty encouraging for us as a church. What were some of the things that encouraged you? Surprise, by 13, their worldview is kind of fixed. That's a new one to me. But what were some of the things that you heard that kind of like, okay, Lord, thank you, we're doing pretty well, or just an area that you were encouraged?
Yeah, so a couple other numbers. One was that 65% of kids are leaving the church after high school, and I don't think that's the case in our church. Additionally, they said only 4% of people have a biblical worldview. Again, just not the case here. And so I think it's encouraging that some of the things we have in place that they were suggesting that we do, we're already doing that. We're already, obviously you can improve on anything, but we're already discipling our kids midweek with just incredibly invested volunteers who are helping kids to be known and then belong and then believe and become. And that's kind of, Awana says, you belong first and then you believe and then you become a disciple of Christ. And I think that we have a lot of great things in place and just committed people who are loving our kids year after year and building relationship in children's ministry, Fusion, Thrive, and beyond. So
one of the things that they highlighted that you were telling me about is just the upside of habits.
Yeah.
And we always think of habits in particular. You have a habit, you're walking, you have a habit of devotion, you have a habit. So we think of personal. Mm-hmm. I don't think we think too often of habits that churches have. I think one of the habits that we have, talk to us about the cycle of the year. There's a habit we start off in the fall and we have midweek. We have weekends. And believe it or not, in churches that we've interviewed recently and looking at some of the things, there's a lot of churches that don't have Sunday school.
Right.
There's even more churches that don't have midweek. So that's one habit. There's a rhythm. What else? Add to kind of look at the whole year is a habit. What are some of the things that we do that are in place all year long?
So I think what we do as a children's ministry, it's kind of like this double-edged sword because we want to have a robust discipleship program, but on the other hand, everything we heard said it has to happen at home. If you're just dropping your kids off on Sunday and on Wednesday, then you're making calendar changes in the life of your children. You're not making heart changes. If you're simply bringing them here.
That's a good insight. Repeat that.
So if if you're just showing up on Sunday and Wednesday, then you've made a calendar change in your child. You have not made a heart change, so that happens at home. So I think some of the other habits that we do here at SFB are to equip parents. When we have community groups, classes that we offer from time to time, Priority 1, which we're going to talk about later, to equip, because it really does happen in the home, not just on Sunday and Wednesday, no matter how amazing our volunteers are. Wow. They have them 1 hour a week.
So as you came back, your whole team was charged. I've listened and I think interacted with all of them. What are some of the takeaways? You just talked about Priority 1. So Priority 1 this year is building a biblical worldview. So I love your phrase, actually, from moving from a calendar change to a heart change in the family. Biblical worldview. I'm going to define biblical worldview as a biblically defined paradigm by which we see the world, interpret the world, and interact with our world. It's a paradigm. It's a way of seeing it through the lens of Scripture. In that time, we're going to be coming up. We're going to be talking about that Saturday, half-day seminar. How can parents gain from that for their kids?
I think a lot of parents don't feel equipped. Like, this world is changing quickly and there's things coming at them and they don't know how to answer those questions, and they don't even know what questions to ask. Because another kind of stat that we heard was that kids are not leaving because of the unanswered questions and doubts. They're leaving because of the unasked questions and doubts. So it's not really enough to answer your kids' questions. You also have to be able to interpret what they might ask or what they might be wrestling with. And so I think being equipped with apologetics and worldview is going to help parents feel equipped to even anticipate what their kids might be struggling with that they're not even asking.
Yeah. So that's last weekend of October. And again, Saturday morning is a seminar for everyone, and we're going to encourage minimally down to middle school. But I think the engaged 4th or 5th grader, yeah, especially mom and dad, if you're there with them, grandma and grandpa, you're with them, understanding what is a worldview, how does it become a biblical worldview, and how does it shape and change our life. So that's the last weekend of October. And again, I'm going to come back to that because I think it's so good. You can make calendar changes, but the real change when we have a heart change in the family. Anything else that came out of the weekend and you're like, this is going to shape us, this is going to change us?
Yeah, we have 3 or 4 books that we are excited to read as a staff and then maybe put out either as a book discussion. We've thrown around a couple of ideas about having open forum discussions on an evening, like maybe once a month or every other month. My team's working on a survey right now. We want to ask parents where you feel maybe ill-equipped or want the church to step in and not disciple your kids more, but equip you. So we want to do that and then help give you what you need in a way that's really tangible and easy to grasp in the time you have to grasp it.
All right. Well, I'm so glad you guys went. I think you were surprised too. You were walking along the street and all of a sudden you saw a big crowd and you went up and lo and behold, who was there doing what did you call it?
It's a pop-up concert.
A pop-up.
Yeah, Keith Urban, and we thought, maybe this is normal. Every night in Nashville, there's a giant 4-time Grammy winner in the streets, and not the case. So that was really fun, kind of a cool Nashville experience to see Keith Urban doing a pop-up.
Did you sing with him?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Glad you're there.
Yep, that's good.
I don't know who I'd want to see in a pop-up, but I wonder if Mumford and Sons is going to do a pop-up in England.
Yeah. That's funny.
Hope you have a great week. We are back in the book of Ephesians this week, so I hope you can come. And also put on your calendars the last weekend of October. Great weekend to shape not just your calendar, but your heart and your home. God bless you. We love you.